Welcome to Private Banking Strategies Podcast with Vance, Lowe, and Seth Hicks, your secret weapon to protect your assets and never have to start over financially again. Vance and Seth help high net worth individuals, families, business owners, and investors structure an asset-protected, tax-free fortress for their families. Learn how to keep what you earn and use the velocity of money to create your own private banking system. Join us on this journey as we explore the secret strategies of the rich and political elite and help you take total control of your financial security. Now, on to the show.
Hello and welcome to Private Banking Strategies Podcast with Vance, Lowe, and Seth Hicks. Vance, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful today. Looks like we've got a pretty good topic to go over.
We're going to be talking about the loan engine of the private family banking system. The loan engine is the power. It is what makes the entire economy move and function.
It really is. And I'm excited to do this simply because both Seth and I have had to field questions many times to get people to really understand what this putting the banking equation back in our lives really means, and how that interacts with the policy, and how we buy debt, and how we pay back into the policy, borrow out, pay back. So we want to go through that process, I think, today, and see if we can't make this crystal clear for those of you who are just joining and just starting to look into. This is something that you really need to be aware of, because if you've got a correct contract built correctly, then you have an opportunity to get money back like a bank does. So Seth, let's go ahead and get into that. What's one of the first things we need to talk about?
Applying the mechanics of how a policy loan works and how to borrow within your own financial system. We'll hear people talk in the industry about taking the banking equation back in your life or becoming your own bank, how to be your own bank. And so some people stumble on that or begin to scratch their head. And so let's talk and start with how a policy loan works in practice. If you have a life insurance contract and it's properly structured, it's going to have something called cash value. And that is an amount that you have access to and can use for your own purposes, whether it's entrepreneurship, real estate investment, an emergency, an auto loan, to what we call purchase bad debt, high interest credit card debt, high interest auto loans, and then become the bank that is paid on all of those existing debts. So let's start there. When we borrow against cash value, what happens and what doesn't happen?
Let me go back on that thought right there and clarify that just a little bit more. In the United States, when we didn't have banks, we used these type of policies to be the bank. We would put our money in. We would capitalize. This is where we would store money. It's a safe haven, protected from taxes and economy, all kinds of things. It has guarantees in it so that we know a future value. We have to understand one thing, and that is, as a bank or whatever we do, if we want to put the money back, we literally have to put the money back. You've got to stop spending your money on living expense and things that you purchase without getting the money back. By putting this equation, this banking equation in, it's pretty simple, folks. The banks always get the money back because they always have control on it. Let's go to the policy now. On a policy, we want to fund or put capital in there that we plan on using in the future or putting to work. That's one of the mindsets we want you to have, is that you capitalize this bank. It's not future money to spend, it's future money to use in purchasing things that wear out in a format that will allow you to make payments back and fill the policy back up, get the money back, get it back with interest. By the time that item wears out, the money's back in your hoppers and you can do it again, over and over again. This is called several touches, multiple touches on the same dollar. So that's the criteria that we want. So we want to be very liberal, would be a good word, in capitalizing our own bank. We've got to move from giving 100% of our money into somebody else's bank. We should move that into our own control, under our own strategy, and into these type of contracts and then put that money to work.
And the reasons that you do that are so multifaceted. And we talk about this and have been talking about this for many years. There are 7 pillars to private banking strategies. And those 7 pillars, you can find those folks on our website at privatebankingstrategies.com. And the 7 pillars are contractual certainties that you will have that are provided by the life insurance contract: asset protection, financial privacy, tax-free growth, the ability to use that money. That's what Vance was describing: money into your bank and out of your bank without any strict regulation or scheduled mandatory third-party lending controls, no amortization schedules. You choose the repayment terms. So you have so many multifaceted benefits to this, and some of them are guaranteed by law according to the state wherever the life insurance contract is issued. Some of those are guaranteed by the life insurance companies and the solvency within the way they practice banking. It's not derivative banking, it's not fractionalized banking, it's one-to-one reserves. So we could talk about those things and have talked about those things in episode after episode, folks. And on our website, you can access these podcasts. There's some key fundamental values that these contracts have that aren't found in any other financial instrument or contract. They're not found in other investment opportunities.
I think, Seth, we have a podcast on the qualities of the perfect investment. And we've listed at least 16. I know we've done that. I've done this thousands of times throughout my career. What is the absolute perfect investment that somebody would want? And you're looking at it. What advertising and our society's done today is that, oh, well, that's the old stuff. The new stuff, the greener grass on the other side of the fence is where you need to go. So they invented the stock market. Stock market never has been able to maintain anywhere close to what these life insurance contracts produce on a very safe platform long term. Everybody gets enticed with short term. Everybody gets enticed with average rates of return versus yield. And it's 2 different worlds. Average rate of return is a fictitious number, which we've said 1,000 times. Yield is actual money put in your account. And if we could put money in this account and it earns a guarantee, and then borrow it out and put it to work by purchasing either some of our debt or the next car, the next thing we need, and self-financing that, we're getting earnings from 2 places. We still get the earnings as if it's still in the life insurance, and we get the opportunity cost of having that money put to work. So having and filling up the life insurance contracts at a level that you feel comfortable with without procrastinating, because that's what we do. Seth and I talk a lot about this strategy can easily double every 5 years. If we lose out on a doubling, is that the first doubling or would it be the last doubling? And it's always going to be the last one, which is the absolute largest. It will double our total assets. So again, picture, folks, putting money in an account that's guaranteed to grow every single day. In addition to that, you're going to get profits on top of that. That's called dividends. Dividends with the participating mutual companies that do these banking contracts, they don't call it guaranteed, but we have never dealt with any of our companies that have never paid out dividend or profits every single year for the last 100 plus years. So that's in addition. We have a lot of things going for us. If you don't think that it's plain Jane, if you don't think or feel like you think you know something about life insurance because professionals on the internet like Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman or some of these other guys tell you that this type of contract is worthless. Number one, they don't know how money works. They've never actually done it in their lives. And number two is that you can fool some of the people some of the time and all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Life insurance started with our company and it's still growing strong. It still holds the majority of the assets in America today. So,
And that's centralized banks have 20, the top 2, I believe. I think last time we looked, this Wells Fargo and Bank of America have 20 billion in annualized premiums that they pay in life insurance contracts. And that's a safe place for their money that has stood the test of time through the Great Depression, through the Civil War, through every other economic downturn. in our country, life insurance companies paid dividends, didn't implode. And that's because of the 1-to-1 reserve ratio on cash values. And it's not funny money, funny method money like centralized banks are allowed to do with factoring. So when you pull your cash value out of your life insurance contract and say, go purchase a real estate investment property, does the life insurance company still pay dividends to you? And on what amount? The money that you just pulled out of your life insurance contract, are they going to pay you dividends on that money even though you just took it out?
That's a yes and a no question. And I'm sorry to introduce a little complication here. Each carrier sets up as what's called a non-recognized or a recognized company. A non-recognized company, when you borrow money against your cash value, if it's a non-recognized company, they will not recognize that money is out. And therefore, they will pay a full dividend on the whole cash value amount. However, because they do that, their annual fees, their annual costs, and their annual charges have to make up that difference. They're very fine tuned. The actuaries in all life insurance company, they know how many people per number of mortalities that are people dying. They're the absolute experts in actuarial assessment in the world. These people hire these guys, and even banks don't have access to these type of people. So a recognized company, they're very low in expenses and costs for things to operate. But the money that has been pulled out, when it comes time to award dividends, is based on the remaining amount that's in or not collateralized. So if I've got $20,000 of cash value and I borrowed 10 and I put it to work and I'm getting $500 a month in payments coming in, I definitely want to do that regardless of whether it's a recognized or non-recognized company. People start getting concerned because life insurance sell what I call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt against the competition. Oh, we're a recognized company. Oh, no, we're a non-recognized company, and you get this or this. It's not about that. It's about what we do when we borrow money and how we leverage against that. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, non-direct recognition and direct recognition policies operate a little bit differently, like you said. And I would say, though, the majority of our contracts are with where compounding continues uninterrupted, not 100%, but most of the companies that we're riding with generally have an uninterrupted compound flow, which is the fuel for velocity of money and being able to have your money in different places and generate the multiple touches. One of the other aspects that is key is understanding that you control your repayment terms to your own bank. And so if there are needs to modify the loan, extend payment terms so that you can deal with, let's say, a cash flow shortage, it's all very easy and you control those aspects. Whereas with third-party lenders, you don't. If there's modifications, your amortization schedule goes through the roof. And something that's really important when you take third-party loans is looking at the interest disclosures and what the interest over the life of the loan amortized will be. That is all interest and money that you earn and flows away from you. But when you implement your own private bank and begin to take the banking equation back, you earn all that interest within your own bank. You're capturing what you were paying to third parties for financing and recapturing it within your own family bank.
And the best way to ask that question, Seth, is when you're the lender and you have payments coming in, do you want your earnings high or low? For some strange reason, I get 100%, we want it high because that's interest coming back to you. And inside the format that we're talking about, and we call it a mini economy, it triggers no taxable events. You're using after-tax dollars inside your strategy. And so as this comes in, and it can double the account, I will show people how fast purchasing an existing car loan or a credit card debt versus the payments that are coming in that you want to make, how fast you can double money. And if we can double it and we can get volume rates of return, volume means total payments coming in. You don't break it out on interest and principal. What you want is the control of the payment coming back and it's now sitting in your hands. That's called volume. And if we're averaging above 50% volume rate, annual volume rate of return, people say, when I ask them, how long would you like this to last? They go, I want to keep going. So as long as we can afford it, we want all the money back that we've ever put into this. On cars, we may be buying the last $10,000, $15,000. That's all we need to come up with to put to work, but that's generating a $500 to $700 a month payment if we leave it the same. Now you amortize that volume rate of return and you're way over 50%, you're 60%, maybe even 7% volume rate of return. So folks, the magic is it's not about the 10,000 that we had to come up with, it's getting all the money back on the car. And then if we can keep going because we still have that car, we want the money back on the previous car. Credit cards, I put a lot of money on credit cards. And I want that money back. And it becomes a way of life and it becomes an incentive because now you're the bank.
Did that story feel like it was about you? Do you feel like you are generating a lot of revenue but are not moving forward as fast as you would like? Do you feel you should be making more progress toward your financial goals? Do you feel stuck? Let us help you get unstuck. Are you ready to take action and get your own private bank? Please visit us at www.privatebankingstrategies.com.
Seth, you said something that I don't think people really understand and appreciate. If someone has to apply for a home equity line of credit, or they apply for a mortgage, or if they apply for some major loan, they have to go through a whole ton of accrediting and divulging of information, don't they? Tax returns, all kinds of things. They want to know everything that you own and you have, and they're going to want to collateralize all of it. If it was a $10,000 loan, they would collateralize $1 million asset if they could. They do it every single day. When we control the debt, and let's say we've got our payments out there and something's come along and it makes us too tight, how hard are we going to make it on ourselves to refinance that debt and get it lower? It's not about paying it off. It's about the volume of return and keeping that at work coming in. So this policy, when we borrow money out, it allows us to move money back in. And one of two ways, maybe more than two ways. The payments by themselves, or like I did, I created a lot of loans on 10 policies over about a 10-year period of time, and I started selling real estate because we've already talked about real estate assets. When I sold that, I wasn't going to reinvest that in other real estate, so I needed a place to put that money, and I could load that all up. That's one strategy. The other one is we borrow it out and we make payments back into it over time until we've got all that money back plus the interest.
Yeah, as far as repayment strategies, when people begin to use the cash value in their life insurance contracts, I'll call it dry powder. And when they begin to deploy dry powder, what are the best places to deploy that? And that may depend on who you're talking to. Obviously, if someone's heavily in debt or if someone is using it to buy their 100th apartment building, very different. But walk us through how you would set up repayment strategies and where the money's coming from in some of these different scenarios, whether it's credit card debt or a real estate investment.
Let's maybe use an emergency credit card debt because we all have that and we all fall prey, or most people fall prey to credit card debt, the unexpected out there because they don't plan for it. They don't have the reserve or whatever else. Let's say the air conditioner goes out and that puppy's $10,000, when all's said and done. You've got to have it because you can't live without it, we think. If it's really hot, we need to cool off. If it's freezing weather, we need to be warm. And so we might go get a couple of quotes and we're going to go with the best one we possibly can. But we put $10,000 on a credit card. And that credit card's not a special credit card. It could be 28 or 35% interest. And okay, we now have some time. We have almost a full month to go find the money to pay off that credit card. So the use of credit cards, folks, don't dismiss that. Credit cards are very valuable to you if you use them correctly. that allows you time to use someone else's money at no cost. So plan A, okay, I'll put it on the credit card, then I'll go find where I can pull some assets, pay off the credit card. Well, here's a great opportunity, folks. If we've got assets asleep somewhere, and everybody might think mistakenly that they have assets out there working for themselves, they don't unless it's in the form of a loan. Let's say that it's in cash value. So they go and borrow from their policy that $10,000. And now they purchase the debt, the credit card debt. That's what we're talking about here. Plan B, you look around for the assets, you can't find it. Everything's tied up right now. You're expecting a bonus or some cash to come in, but it's not there. And so you've got to go to plan B. That is setting up a payment schedule that you're comfortable with, you can live with on your budget. And let's say it's $500. I can afford to pay $500. I want to knock this out as fast as I can, but I can't pay any more than that because of my take-home pay. That's good too, because if we can set up the life insurance and borrow that loan, that debt, we have three things that we look at. Okay, I got to come up with $10,000 to buy the debt. That debt has a 28% interest attached to it, and the payment is $500. Folks, I look all day long, every day, and drool at the mouth to find this very type of debt. I always quiz my kids when they're out doing things to let the family bank purchase that debt. And I ask, why am I drooling at the mouth? What is creating that interest? And mistakenly, everybody says, gosh, that's 28% interest. And I go, you know what? If that was a zero interest credit card, it wouldn't dampen my enthusiasm one little bit. So now there's only two numbers, the amount I have to come up with to buy the debt and the payment. And what is exciting that I drool over is the payment, the volume of return. I only got to take $10,000 and I'm going to get a $500 a month volume of return. Where can you invest $10,000 and get $500 a month income tax free? You can't do it, folks. It just can't be done. That's a 60% volume rate of return right there. And so I can take that $500, put it back in my hand or put it back into the policy. And every year that's got to be $6,000. 500 times 12 is $6,000 back in my hand. And I still have my 10,000 out there working, producing $500 a month for year two. If I take that money and go buy more debt and get the same rate of return in year two, I'm going to make $6,000 plus $3,600 because I put $6,000 and bought more debt with it. That's the game. That is the opportunity we have of getting dollars back in our hands and putting it to work again. And now when we do that, our volume of return, the amount of money, gets $9,200 that next year. So that's back in my hands to go buy more debt. You have any idea, folks, with this strategy, the reason Seth and I are on here for you is how fast you could take out your mortgage. They're just doing that without increasing expense or time or energy. I hope that answers. I'm sorry if I go too in depth, folks, but I really get excited here because I see this change people's lives every day. If you're not doing this, find out about it.
Yeah, and so you described what we sometimes say purchase the debt. They had bad credit card debt in their balance sheet, but they had cash flow through their regular income or through their business or through their real estate investment or through whatever, so that they're already paying their credit card company. So they also have assets sufficient to be able to create some dry powder for their own family bank, at least $10,000 of dry powder from whatever, extra car, whatever. People have assets laying all over that don't make them any money, that when you liquidate and put them to work, it makes people's heads spin. So you paid off, air quotes, your credit card debt with your dry powder from your own family bank. So from the very beginning, you have to have a note and a repayment plan, strategy, principal amount, interest rate, term, where you now take the money that you were making from your regular income or from your real estate investment or from whatever, you fill in the blank, and paying your credit card company previously, now you're going to pay your own bank at least the same amount that you were paying monthly to your credit card. And with every payment that you pay your own bank back, your dry powder increases. Your dry powder increases, and it's asset protected within that state's laws on life insurance contracts, grows and compounds tax-free, financially private, and all of the other 7 pillar benefits. So I think that's a pretty comprehensive picture. And we're talking to people at that level, the lowest level possible, bad credit card debt, because people can understand that and then get their mind around that. Obviously, for folks who are very successful at this, they've graduated far above from purchasing bad credit card debt to financing equipment purchases like Nelson Nash's nephew did, or to real estate investment, or many awesome ways that families have made and preserved wealth. And dovetailing that into their banking, their private family banking, creates an even more exponential growth. I think that's a pretty good way to explain it.
It is. And folks, we spent some time here. We've dealt on just a couple of topics of the cash value loans, the setup, the repayment, but there's so much more because it's what I call the perfect investment. It will adapt for your circumstances. It will adapt for your changing circumstances in the future. It teaches you what putting assets to work means versus having assets sitting idle for you. If you're in stock portfolio, if you're in 401ks or Roths or IRAs and you've got the money over in accounts with someone else, your money's asleep to you. Best you can do, get awarded whatever interest they feel like they can get away with. You're not going to get the doublings. You're not going to get the earnings they're going to make on your money. And we've just shown you in today's podcast, if you put the money just to work for you, just purchasing your own debt, what it could do for you. In 1 year, you'd have 60% volume back in your control right there. And the next year's going to produce another 60%. That's 120% in 2 years.
Yeah, it always surprises me at how many people have credit card debt, and even wealthy people. And you want to take this example to the extreme, folks. Go to our website, privatebankingstrategies.com. There are over 150 podcasts. Search for the Chiropractor podcast, where we do a multi-part series on a client of ours that was a chiropractor who was at least $500,000 in debt and maybe more. And they were distraught and broken. And they came in, and Vance showed them how to recapture all that bad debt within their own private family bank with the assets that they had, and year over year, basically turn that bad debt into a great tool for growing and increasing their wealth. So listen to that podcast, folks. If this content's resonating with you, if you like what Vance and I are talking about and you want to learn more, subscribe to our podcast, like and share it with other folks. But more importantly, put your name and email in on our website, where we offer you a book that Vance and I authored called The Secrets Banks Don't Want You to Know. And in that book, we're going to teach you things about compounding interest and how to be the bank, how to actually capture the wealth that they're capturing off of your back. And folks, if that content resonates with you, you'll have an opportunity to schedule a call with Vance through emails that come to you, and go through an exploratory call and learn exactly how it will work for you. Vance, what happens with the folks that come in and want to learn how to do this? What do they get from you?
What we're going to do is we're just going to explore your current situation, and we're going to set you up to take this strategy for a test drive right up front. And that will be on our expense. So we'll show you with your numbers, break it out month by month over an 8-year period of time, the differences. And there won't be any assumptions. It'll just be pure math. And by the time we're done with that presentation, you're going to know, hey, I'm much better off with the strategy in my life versus not. Okay. And we're going to answer your questions and everything so that you have a good picture of what this all entails. To do this, to learn about how money really works, to set yourself up so you can be private, pay a whole ton less in taxes or government control. It's amazing what this will do, but it's not new. This is the strategy America had before banks. So that's all it is. We're bringing it back. We encourage you, do yourself a favor, find out more about this, talk to me about it, get the book, read it, and see if 2026 can be a pivotal change for you in your wealth accumulation.
Right on. Folks, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to having you on the next one.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Did that story feel like it was about you? Do you feel you should be making more progress toward your financial goals? Do you feel stuck? Let us help you get unstuck. Are you ready to take action and get your own private bank? Please visit us at www.privatebankingstrategies.com.
Thank you for listening to the Private Banking Strategies Podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available.